it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Friday, January 27th. So today we will have the moon in Aries go void, of course, at 4:02 p.m. and we will be locking into Taurus energy at 6:43 p.m. Again, both Eastern Standard Time. We are preparing, setting ourselves up for the first quarter moon in Taurus energy that will be taking place on Saturday. And this is the very first point of decision, of choice, of action, of movement that we have had in a very, very long time. Of course, the shift out of this Aries energy into this Taurus energy can kind of feel like we are hitting a brick wall because we have to kind of slow our roll down. Taurus energy, being an earth energy, means that we are very present in our physical bodies. We are very focused on what it is that we need to do, which of course is a huge contrast to that Aries energy that just was kind of scatterbrained all over the place, just wanting to kind of go out in the world, make moves willy-nilly. We have to kind of focus our energies. We have to bring everything back into the physical body. We have to be present. We have to ground. And because of that, that shift moving into the Taurus energy does kind of feel low and slow. It does kind of feel like we do hit that brick wall. However, it is absolutely necessary that we do so because we're moving into a time of very, very strategic action. We need to be present. We need to be slow moving. We need to be calculated. And we weren't embodying any of those qualities and characteristics while the moon was in Aries energy. So there are 6 different aspects here today, a relatively quiet day in the cosmos, and 5 of them involve the moon. So before the moon kind of gets into its actions of the day, we do have Mercury squaring off, getting into the boxing ring with Chiron, the wounded healer. So this likely isn't going to feel good. It is going to illuminate to us where it is that we're feeling the tension, where we're feeling conflicted, where there's a little bit of strain, especially in our personal relationships, where some, I'm going to say, forced conversations or forced communications are taking place. We are a little bit more sensitive to negative feedback or criticism or judgment. We're highly defensive, so that could pop off at any time. We aren't in the best mind frame. We are really questioning ourselves. We're questioning other people. We are kind of sitting in the fears and the doubts and the insecurities of our current situation. We're having a hard time visualizing the problems and actually coming up with a solution for them. We do feel like we are kind of struggling to be able to articulate what's going on within us and to be able to communicate that and express that outside of ourselves. We're definitely feeling not our best selves. We are not as motivated. We are not as confident. We're really kind of just sitting in the funk right now. And as we move throughout this day, we are going to have some aspects that kind of pull us out of that funk. However, it is a very tough mental game. The moon is going to bump into Neptune in such a way that is going to really put us in a situation to have to lean more into our intuition or to lean into our ego. Now that can be a hard call to make because again, with the mental plane not as strong as we would like it to be, we have a tendency to get caught up in our current circumstances. Many current circumstances aren't feeling so happy-go-lucky here lately, and therefore we're having a hard time aligning with our higher self, listening to our intuition, really kind of grasping a dream and a vision. Right now, we're kind of sitting in the funk where, and again, the reason why this is happening is because we are approaching a very pivotal point of change, of action, of transformation, and the dark force energies like to kind of scare us, speak fear into our plans to try and keep us in a state of paralysis where we're not growing, we're not evolving. So right now, between the moon and Neptune, we're having a hard time aligning with the vision, aligning with the dream, really reminding ourselves of the reasons why we want this change, why we want to move forward. And again, really allowing that negative narrative to get the upper hand over us. The moon goes ahead, semi-squares Mars. Now, Mars rules over this Aries energy, so this is a little bit of an intense type of interaction. A semi-square is a tension point anyways. And let me just say that this is going to add to the funk, add to the frustration, add to the agitation, because technically speaking, we're being stalled out of taking action until we get a very solid plan together. Now, the Aries energy doesn't really care about plans. This is why we've been kind of stop and go over the last couple of days, because yes, we are moving into a period of time where action is going to definitely be the name of the game, but not without a plan, not without a strategy. And again, if you've slept on yourself for the last 7 months, that Mars has been in Gemini energy, trying to sort out the details, trying to align with a certain path, a certain decision, a certain choice point, and you haven't been doing the work in order to really get down to the nitty gritty on what it is that you want to pour your time and energy into, and you haven't gotten down to the nitty gritty of formulating a plan on how it is that you're going to go about going out in the world and actually asserting yourself to go after what it is that is basically calling to you, new passions, new desires, new experiences. If you've been sleeping on yourself and you haven't figured any of this out, this is why you're feeling the cluster F, because you did not take the time to strategize the plan. Now, the moon is going to go ahead and sextile, which is a beautiful energy. Thank goodness for this, because it's the best thing that we got going on here today so far, with Saturn, the Lord of Karma. So thank goodness for this, because as you may know, the negative aspects of Saturn can be pretty tough. What we're doing here is we're kind of trying to break away from the funk. How do we do that? Well, first of all, we get a grip on our mental plane, on the inner narrative. We tap into a new level of boldness, of bravery, of courage. We recognize where it is that our power, our physical power, is going to be wasted if we do not have a direct focus on how it is that we are going to move forward. Saturn ruling over systems, foundations, and structures is reminding us that, guess what? You got to have a plan in order to build a house. You have to have a strong foundation if you don't want that house to fall down, really kind of bossing us up in a way to stop acting like a kid, stop acting like our immature selves, and actually act from a mature place. Take a look back on your experiences and all the times that you just went out in the world trying to make things happen without a plan, and how that actually worked out for you. So it's time to get a little bit more mature with the way that we actually use our energy out in the world. It's time to get a plan, and it's time to methodically implement that calculated strategy in order for us to build the bridge to get us from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. The moon squares, gets into the boxing ring with Pluto. This is the last aspect that the moon in Aries is going to make before going void of course, and it is not a nice one. Pluto, of course, is the great transformer. He likes to show us where in the past the pain, the trauma, the suffering, the disappointment led to our disempowerment, hoping that that will act as a catalyst, as inspiration, as motivation for us to boss up, to do things differently, to make a change, and to basically see we're standing in our power and taking control over the situation is going to lead to our empowerment. This is the tension point that we need. Why? Because the moon in Aries, who again is the very first sign of the zodiac, the toddler of the zodiac, if we will, we are realizing now, especially at the end of the moon in Aries time, that we can't just go out in the world willy-nilly. We do have to move within ourselves. We do have to make a change. We do have to transform our perspective. We do have to be inspired and motivated by our past disappointments, our past failures, in order to do things differently this time if we actually want to see success. So that is at 4:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The moon goes void, of course. While the moon is void, things get very shaky, very uncertain. We question everything. Things are falling apart. The energy is all over the place. And then we lock into Taurus energy at 6:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we ground ourselves out. We put ourselves in a timeout. The very first and the only aspect that the moon in Taurus is going to make here today is a very positive one. It's a sextile with Venus, its ruler. And Venus, of course, just fresh into this Pisces energy. This is about sitting back, taking the time to grasp a dream, to grasp the vision, to allow ourselves to align with our intuition, to see what is calling us. This Pisces energy that Venus is in is the great manifesting energy that we're able to grasp from our higher selves, get that seed of inspiration, get that motivation, get that dream, get that vision, bring it in to our physical bodies. Venus energy, physical bodies. Sort out what is important to us, what is going to make us happy, what is going to make us feel safe and secure. And then emotionally speaking, the moon in Taurus energy is going to ground us out, help us kind of tunnel vision on what needs to be done, what needs to be created, what we have to give birth to within our emotional selves, first and foremost, mental selves, secondly, physical selves, thirdly, in order for us to be able to actually move forward in a way that would suggest that we are building the right kind of routines, relationships, foundations for us to bring some of these dreams and visions to life.